Super Bowl champions.
E-A-T-L-E-S,
Swinging a miss, struck him out. The Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of Baseball.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Flyers are going to win the Stanley Cup. The Flyers win the Stanley Cup for the lead. Yes! Iverson, wow, what a fake on Daniels as he broke his ankles and got all the way to the cup.
Yo, what's going on?
What's going
What is
on?
up, gentlemen?
What's up, man?
You know, same stuff, different toilet, right?
Yeah.
Oh, listen, it's been a minute. We haven't
Yes.
talked in probably about 3 weeks. Took
Yes,
a
it
little vacay from the action, but and listen, on a night where I turned on just opened up the Yahoo Sports app and nothing. It's one of those nights where there's not a single ounce of sports. So
Oh yeah, I was gonna say, wait, news? I'm like James Harden deal, but I'm like, oh, you're talking about just sports, and yeah, there's nothing tonight. It's a weird lull.
there's no live action. So listen, we're gonna kick off our summer project. Oh,
Don't you, Cal?
what's up, bud?
Callie's like, I think I want to be on the podcast tonight. She's got a lot to say.
We're kicking off our summer project, and we're drafting our all-time Eagles team, but we're going to try to keep it current, 1980 and above. So every one of us is going to pick tonight. We'll pick a quarterback.
Man, Cheese, wide receiver, 1901. He held the record for most receptions in the season with 3.
Playing for the Steagles.
Playing for the Steagles.
Those uniforms
Man,
are terrible.
Cheese.
Those uniforms
Oh,
are
man.
terrible.
It's so bad. So bad. But and listen, we're all going to pick a quarterback.
Okay.
We're all going to pick 2 running backs.
Okay.
And we're going to pick 2 wide receivers.
Okay.
And then I thought of this as I'm looking at the names. What I might do is tomorrow come up with a list of like a couple of guys that we didn't pick
Okay.
and let the fans vote. And we'll have a fan team.
I like it.
And then we'll see what everybody can come up with. But
I am for it. I'm here for that.
Let's do it.
all right. So just so we're all transparent here.
Oh, we're picking the draft order.
Well, we're gonna snake. So like
Okay. I like the snake.
So we'll start with quarterback, and then
Okay.
the next one, whoever picks last for the quarterback, they'll pick first for the running backs, and we'll just kind of snake around. And then next week when we switch positions, we'll do the same thing, just so everybody's getting a fair shot. So here
Don,
we go.
can we do it this way instead of so?
Go ahead.
If you get first pick, say I want to take a quarterback, and then Joe wants to go wide receiver, can he do that instead of just drafting 3 and then 2 and then snaking? Because maybe there's a guy he really wants at that number 2 spot that he might not be able to get. Because you got to figure only 3 quarterbacks are going off the board. So, one
Right.
goes. I think you should have a fair chance to get one of those running backs or wide receivers. Also, are we factoring in tight end / wide receiver?
Tight end is going to be a different night.
Okay, all right, I'm with it.
So
I'm just saying.
We'll do a couple positions a night, and then by the end of it, we'll build it up. So let's say this. Let's say by the end of this, you got to have 2 wide receivers, 2 running backs, 1 quarterback.
Deal, and any pick you can take, so it doesn't have to be quarterback right away.
I'm in.
All right,
All
Joe,
right, ready?
you go with it, Joe.
Let's do it. I'm ready. Let's rock and roll. Come
Here
on.
we go.
Come on, big money.
That was not. There we go. All right. So
Money.
money.
This is gonna be
All right.
tough, man.
Here we go. So let's take this off the board.
Well, who gets second pick?
You know what?
You got to keep running it. You got to keep running. Come on, Don. What show are you running?
hold on. Let's take.
Guys never picked names out of a hat before.
We'll take Rich out. There we go. For the second pick.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, Joe. Joe, you're going to pick second?
All right. Works for me.
There we go. And then I'll pick third.
Beautiful.
All right. Here
All
we
right.
go.
This is gonna be tough. Let me look down my list. I do have a list here. I want to see who I want to take first.
Rich, I'm not surprised that you didn't have a couple of mocks.
I did a few mocks. And always had Joe go with Michael Vick. So I didn't want to take that from him. Oh man. So if I have to take with my first pick, it's going to be tough, but I want to go wide receiver first.
Okay.
And let me get the physical specimen, the 6'8" from 1971 to 1983, Harold Carmichael.
Okay.
I'm going to take Harold Carmichael for
right.
my number one overall, just because imagine Harold Carmichael playing in the NFL today as being a 6'8" wide receiver at 225 pounds.
Ridiculous.
And he wasn't slow.
No.
No.
He was not at all.
Physical specimen. He would put up numbers now that are similar to some just of the top 10 guys, like in the league. Especially if he had a better quarterback. You know, imagine if he played in a different era, like put him in with Donovan McNabb, put him in with Vic out of like the Eagles quarterbacks, put him in with even Carson Wentz.
Yep.
If Carson Wentz could hit him, like if it could actually hit water, like it would be dangerous. So I have to go with the guy who people are going to look at. He leads the Eagles wide receivers, right? I believe in pretty much every statistical stat.
Okay.
I believe so. I mean, look at his career games: 180, 589 receptions, almost 9,000 yards, and 79 touchdowns. Like, the numbers speak for itself.
Yeah.
And that's in a decade where throwing the ball wasn't your number one option. You had your run game. You had your defense. I got to go Harold Carmichael. That's my number one pick.
All right. Joe, who we got?
Going with that. Hey, I could go a couple different positions here, but I think we're going to keep the wide receiver position going. I'm going to go with Mr. Terrell Owens.
Ooh, that's another great one. That's a great one.
All right.
Owens.
Just go T.O. And Joe, talk to me about T.O. Jay, short time here, but
yeah. I mean, yeah, he wasn't here very long, but his body of work with the Niners. I mean, a Hall of Fame player, unguardable. His stats were really second to none. I mean, arguably top 3, top 5. All the guy did was go out and ball out on a day-to-day, a game-to-game basis, every year, every week, every Sunday, every Monday. He talked the shit. He talked his shit, but man, did he back it up! And he was so much fun to watch, And I always had my popcorn ready. Always had my popcorn ready when I was watching T.O. play.
I love it. Well, listen, because it's going to snake here, and I'm going to take two guys here. I'm gonna one of the most exciting guys that I saw play. I'm going Deshaun Jackson.
That's a great. If he got back to me, that's what I was taking next round.
But like I look at that and I look at like the plays that stick, the electric plays that stick out, like the play in Dallas where he catches the bomb from McNabb, the punt return in the Meadowlands. How can you not? And for the snake coming back around, I'm gonna stick with the miracle in the Meadowlands. I'm going Brian Westbrook.
Ah, you fucker. That's a good one. That was my next one.
One of those guys that just, what was in the thralls of my fandom was just the guy that whenever he had the ball had a chance to go the distance. So that's who I got. I got him. Joe, who you got your second pick?
Second pick. Man, that's a tough one. Let's see who's left on the tape. Oh, how about quarterback? Let's go quarterback.
Okay.
Let's go number 5.
We'll always love you.
Number 5 will always love you, baby. Donovan I always had a connection with Donovan because, you guys might know, and I don't know if I told you this or not, but I grew up in upstate New York. I moved to the Philly area when I was probably about 10 or 11. So, yes, I'm a real Eagles and Philadelphia sports fan. I'm legit. Okay, I'm legit. But when it comes to college sports, Syracuse was always my team because they were like a pro team up there. Because where I live,
truly.
they were like a pro team. So I followed Donovan from Syracuse, and he had that 10-year run with us, around 10 years, where every year it was like we were in the mix. You always felt like you had a shot at greatness every year with him. He had his faults in the playoffs and the Super Bowl, but he at least was he was knocking on the door.
I like it. I'm not.
I agree.
That's a hell of a pick. I get 2. So I'm going to go to the running back position, and I'm going to take Wilbert Montgomery as my number 1 running back. And I am going to come back to wide receiver. So it's not a story of he put up the most historic numbers or had the longest tenure with the Eagles. It's a story of what could have been if he actually had his life on track and Buddy Ryan didn't cut him. And that is Hall of Famer Chris Carter.
Listen, all he does is catch touchdowns.
I mean, what a story, Like,
yeah, truly.
I look back on it, and obviously, like, I would talk to my dad about it, and it's like one of those things where he's like, yeah, we had, and this was years ago, like, I don't know, I might have been like 16, 17. I was so naive, I didn't know. And we got into talk, and he's like, yeah, and the Eagles drafted Chris Carter. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. I'm like, no, they did. I'm like, stop. He was a Viking. He's like, no, dude. He's like, I'm telling you, they drafted him. I looked it up, I think, like, on a computer at the time, because I don't know if phones were that smart back then.
Wait, you had to put in the AOL dial-up.
Yeah. And Dad, wait for the dial-up. Wait, you wrong. And then I saw it.
Same time.
And I was like, oh shit. And then I read the story of, the cocaine, the pot, which is whatever, the ecstasy. He was addicted. He had alcohol-related issues as well. And it was just one of those things where he hit the lowest of the low and it was rock bottom, and it forced him to turn his career and his life around.
Yeah. It
sucks because it's like one of those another Eagles Philadelphia story. Doesn't work with us, works with somebody. But, in hindsight, I'm happy that, Buddy Ryan cut him so he could get his life on track.
Right.
And he could eventually, like Jason saying, Chris Carter's a top 5 wide receiver of all time. Yes, become a top 5 wide receiver of all time. And that's why I'm going with that. And Wilbert Montgomery, I mean, his stats speak for himself. That guy was one of the most electric running backs at the time and one of the greatest in Eagles history. I could have went, Shady there or somebody else, but I'm like, it's weird that I'm respecting the old dudes, but when you look at the numbers that they put up in their time and how electric out people still talk about them, it's like, oh yeah, man, Wilbert Montgomery. They talk about Harold Carmichael, not so much Mike Quick because he was all right, but he wasn't that great. But you just hear like what they talk about, like with that team in the 80s and all the talent that they have, but not being able to win. It's baffling to me. So I'm going to have to go with those guys, Wilbert Montgomery and Chris Carter. So I locked up my wide receivers.
There you go. All right, Rich, snake back around.
I picked.
You picked. Well, you got Chris Carter.
And then Wilbert Montgomery.
And then Wilbert Montgomery. All right, Joe, you're back.
I'm back. Guess who's back? Shady's back. There he goes. We'll go with 25. Cut on a dime. Shady McCoy.
I like it.
Arguably the best Eagles running back of all time, mirrored by Brian Westbrook, I believe, as the closest comparison. But, I mean, man, that guy was electric. That guy could turn a 3-yard carry into a 90-yarder. He could
Truly.
catch the ball. He could run the ball, fake you out of your shoes. I mean, he was the epitome of an all around back. Fan favorite. You can't go wrong. You can't go wrong with Shady McCoy. So I'm taking the Shady
I
man.
like it.
There we go.
I like it.
All right, I'm going quarterback. And if you're watching at home, you can probably tell who I'm going to take.
Carson.
Oh wait, the guy's jersey that you're wearing?
The guy's jersey that I wear. I'm taking the ultimate weapon, Pastor Randall Cunningham. Listen, that was religion for me on Sundays, watching him play. And the shame of it is that he didn't get coached up enough to be able to be super productive here. He just kind of made do with all his athletic talent. So as far as I'm hoping that by the time we get around to picking coaches, maybe I can pick a coach for Randall that is going to design an offense that's going to help support him.
Yeah, Chip Kelly will do that. Give him Chip Kelly.
Oh God! But I love watching Randall play. That was in the thralls of my childhood. Yep. So I'm gonna go Randall, and then for my second wide receiver, I'm gonna go. Oh God! A guy that I love
Evan
watching.
Curtis. He's yours. All right, moving on.
Reggie Brown.
Reggie Brown. I'll take Reggie Brown.
I'll take Reggie Brown.
Brown.
Tom Brown. Tom Brown. Tom Brown. Too? You get
Brown.
both. You get both Brown brothers.
Damian Douglas.
If you really want James Thrash, he's there, Don.
Dante Stallworth.
Oh Jesus, I forgot about that.
Oh wait, can I take Art Monk? Art Monk played a season for the Birds. No, I'm gonna go a guy who is really productive. Is an Eagles great. I'm gonna go Mike Quick.
Okay, I like it. No complaints.
Nice pick.
All right. So now we got. All right, Joe. You need a running back and a wide receiver.
Running back and a wide receiver. Wow. Oh man. Let's go with. Why not? Let's go with Jeremy Maclin.
All right.
I like it.
J-Mac. I mean, quiet, under the radar, not a big name, but I mean, the guy, I don't know how many 1,000-yard seasons he had, but I think he had one or two at least. I mean, he was consistent, high receptions each year, and he produced. All he did was produce year after year. So I'm going Maclin.
I like it.
Hey, Rich.
Yes.
If you can look in the comments, is this?
I don't know. Is that Oscar? Is it our Oscar or is it other Oscar?
All right. I have to ask Oscar, if you're listening on YouTube, is this Oscar former producer?
The one we love?
The one we love, the one we
Or
lost?
is it the other Oscar?
Or is it another Oscar? Is it a brother from another?
I don't like Rich. Yeah, it's Oscar.
Oscar!
Yeah, Oscar.
What's going on, brother?
Just on that comment. Just on that comment. I knew
there it is.
I knew it was him. Thank God.
Oh God.
Thank God.
And Jay, I see all your quotes. I just haven't been able to get to them.
So,
Rich, you need a quarterback or a running back? The feelings are mutual, brother.
Not Rich, though. I understand. All right, Oscar Dame, stop blowing up the chat. Jesus. God. Anyway, I am going to take my quarterback. Not that I think he is the greatest quarterback. Not that I think that I even, remotely think he's good. But he did beat Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. So I have to go with the man that they built a statue for that made Carson Wentz fall apart mentally, and that's Nick Foles.
All right. You got him.
Without him, I don't know if we have that Super Bowl. So
all right, Rich. And your running back.
And my final running back, I got to go with my boy, Deuce.
Joe.
Deuce Staley. I mean, enough said. Enough said. Just give me that big body dude just running dudes over. Give it to me. Goal line back.
All right, Joe, you need a running back.
I do need a running back, and man, did I wait too long, huh? What the heck? I might have to go DeMarco Murray. Just kidding. I wouldn't.
I'm gonna say Ronnie Brown's there. You want Ronnie Brown?
Ronnie Brown, yeah.
He's Sherman.
Do you remember when Ronnie Brown was back up on the pile and threw the ball backward?
Oh my god!
You remember that play? That always sticks.
That
was a day I figured out he was left-handed.
Yeah.
Looks so weird. Running into the line.
Here we go. This is an oldie but a goodie. How about Keith Byers?
Oh, I like it.
My man, Keith Byers.
Yeah, Keith Byers. I like Keith Byers.
I like it. Maybe you can slide him into a double tight end situation.
There you go. Love it. Versatility, baby.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. Listen, I got to pick a running back. I'm gonna go small and speedy in the backfield, and I'm going Darren Sproles.
Nice.
I'm gonna go Sproles.
I like Darren Sproles. I mean, he was one hell of a running back for the Saints. He came here and he was just one hell of a captain for this squad.
Truly.
Yeah, I could do everything. I miss having Darren Sproles. Bow-legged and all. I miss that guy.
Dude, that guy was a man. That guy was a man. He was ready to throw down with Carson when they were both injured.
I know. It makes me so happy.
And Darren would have beat his ass.
Darren would kill him. The size of Darren's quads are probably 2/3 of the width of Carson's body. He would just destroy him. Oh man.
Oh god.
That was good. That was good.
All right. So I'm going to put a poll out tomorrow.
Okay.
Any names of guys that we didn't pick? So Rich, you have Nick Foles, Wilbur Montgomery, Deuce Staley, Harold Carmichael, and Chris Carter.
Mm-hmm.
Joe, you have McNabb, Shady, Keith Byers, T.O., and Jeremy Macklin.
Squads.
And I got Randall, Brian Westbrook, Darren Sproles, Mike Quick, and Deshaun Jackson.
Beautiful.
So
I do like our squads, though. I do. They were good picks. I'm surprised. They were good. They were good.
So any names of guys, if we're going to let the fans pick a player?
I mean,
start with quarterback. Guys that we didn't pick.
You have to. Yeah, I just wasn't taking them because of the person. So that's Mike Vick. I mean,
right.
Too much bullshit with Mike Vick for me to be like, yeah, I like the guy. So
Jaws.
Yeah. Jaws. And you have to put in who is it? Ty Detmer, Coy Detmer. Those are the Detmer brothers in.
Brad Gable.
Kevin Cobb, Mark Sanchez,
Doug Peterson.
Brad Gable.
You want to go 3 players at every spot?
Yeah, that works.
All right. So running back.
You can do. Honestly, I would throw Miles Sanders in that equation.
Okay.
Who do you got, Joe?
Ricky Waters.
Ooh, I like that.
Ricky Waters. Fuck.
Okay.
Charlie Garner.
Charlie Garner. Oh shit, yeah.
Okay.
Dude, I forgot about that.
Yeah. Charlie
Garner. His wife is a smoke show.
Yeah.
Oh, man. And then wide receiver.
Would you Google her?
Who? Isn't it Holly? Oh no, I'm thinking Rodney Pete's wife.
Oh, that's Rodney.
Holly Robinson Pete from Hanging on Mr. Cooper. That's what I was thinking. Damn it, not Charlie Brown. I don't know what his wife looks like. I'll Google her. Maybe she's hot. Probably not. Though. He wasn't a star quarterback.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Wide receivers.
Right. Do we throw LeGarrette Blount in there?
I would put 4. Put LeGarrette Blount in there.
Oh, right. What about Correll Buckholder?
Hey, if he had knees, he'd be all right.
Yeah.
That dude literally had 0 knees. Never knew that. Fred Barnett, Jason says.
Ooh, all right. I'm slacking on the comments. Here we go.
No worries.
Williams.
Here we go.
You're doing a lot more stuff, Don, so don't worry about it. If we had a
Barnett.
producer named Oscar, it'd be different.
Yeah, if we had a producer who
He just
stuck
likes to go
around.
to Wednesday sips in the city with his work crew because they're young, they're pretty, and they're talented. Yes. Good for you, Oscar, having a social life. Have kids.
Alshon Jeffrey.
I'll put Alshon. Yeah, you can go Alshon. Alshon, let's see, in the 90s. Nobody in the McNabb era.
Yeah, right.
Oh,
I'm just trying to go through here, guys that we didn't pick. You want to put G. Lou in there?
Todd
Yeah,
Pink.
then we got to put Pinkston and I would
James
take
Trash.
Clovis over those guys.
James Trash.
I'm trying to think, man.
Irving Fryer. He play here long enough?
Well, I picked T.O. and he only played here for 1 year.
That's fine. Throw Irving
Do I
Fryer.
have to give that? Do I have to give
Jason
that?
Avant.
I like Jason Avant. I mean, I think he's an Eagles great because he was just, but he's not. It's so hard. Irving Fryer. Yeah, I'm gonna have to Google this.
It's hard because we've had a lot of really shitty.
Yeah,
Over the
yeah. I'm just. I mean, God, some of these names. Dante Stallworth, Torrey Smith was here for a minute on that Super Bowl team.
Torrance Small.
Well, we have three. The guys we have to vote on are Fred Barnett, Alshon Jeffrey, Jason Avant.
Calvin Williams.
I guess you got to go with that.
Calvin Williams is top third. He's number 13 in Eagles yardage
Wow.
at 3,840.
Wow.
More than Jason Avant, more than Keith Byers, more than Harold Jackson. Oh, Jesus, man, this is tough.
That's wild.
I don't know.
Should we put Oscar's boy in there, Joe Flacco?
Put Joe Flacco in there. Definitely have to do that.
All right, so Calvin Williams, Fred Barnett, Jason Avant, Greg Ward. We'll put that up tomorrow. We'll let the fans vote. And
It's so hard for wide receiver
No,
it is kind of crazy.
because we took all the good ones.
no four-string quarterback.
No fourth string quarterbacks
No.
here. So, all right, so we got our team. So next week we'll pick a couple other positions,
Okay.
and then we'll build the list, and then we'll let the fans vote.
We're building
Beautiful.
the dream teams.
So
Oh,
segment number 2, same faces, new places. So here's the fantasy portion of the segment.
Love it.
Rich, I'm gonna let you lead off.
Ah, man. I mean, you had a bunch of shakeups this year. I mean, you look at Devontae Adams leaving Green Bay to go play with Derek Carr in the Las Vegas Raiders. Then you have Tyreek Hill leaving Patrick Mahomes and that extremely talented man to go play with Tua, which is Chase Edmonds leaves Arizona to go down to Miami as well. I mean, there's so many moving pieces. It's just same faces, new places. I think. Are we going to go with who's going to benefit the most from the?
Yeah. Who do you think is a guy that benefits, or guys? Who are some guys that benefit the most from moving to a new place?
So it's weird why I would say this guy. Jason is correct. Matt Ryan is going to be a beneficiary. I mean, he's just one of those guys who's not good for fantasy. He had a lot of top 10 metrics last year, but he just wasn't good for fantasy. He had better numbers than – so Carson Wentz finished outside the top 25 in a few key metrics like yards per – like air yards, yards per completion, and passes completed over 20 yards. He was like not even in the top 25. Matt Ryan was in the top 10 for all three of those. But Matt Ryan wasn't a good fantasy quarterback just because he doesn't have the talent to sustain it. Now over in Indianapolis, he's got Mike Williams. He's got Alec Pierce as their number 2. And obviously Jonathan Taylor, which is nice. Nyheim Hines coming out of the backfield. But if I'm looking at a guy who surprisingly is going to be an upgrade for me, I think it's going to be Juju Smith-Schuster. He leaves Ben Roethlisberger, who was pretty putrid for the past 2 years. He got hurt last year coming off the shoulder injury. But when you go from a quarterback who is basically non-existent anymore to the best quarterback probably in the game,
Right.
I have to go Juju makes out. I think Devontae Adams will be fine because it's Devontae Adams. He just has that elite talent.
Yeah.
Yeah, Juju's a sleeper, but it's tough because he's going in like 6 rounds in a lot of mocks. And to me, I don't think it's low and I don't think it's high. I think the ADP is where it should be for him just because he has the best quarterback in the game throwing the ball. It's just going to make you better. So going from them situations, it just is fine. You have Tyreek Hill, who might not be a beneficiary. You have Jalen Waddle, who caught 100 passes last year. So now you're going to be combative between those two. Who do you want to take to toss up? Tyreek Hill is obviously the dominant skill set. It's got the speed. We'll see what the new head coach can do for it. But if I'm looking at who's benefiting the most from same face, new place, it's got to be Juju.
I like it. Joe, who you got? Who's a guy that you're looking at that swap teams that is going to benefit from being in that new spot?
I think it's going to be Russell Wilson.
That's a great one too, yeah.
You know, we don't really know what was going on with that organization, the GM, the owner, Pete Carroll. It just, something stunk. Something smelled bad, you know, with that season last year for them. And I think, you know, going to Denver, going with the Broncos, going, you know, with – you got John Elway running the show over there, and a guy who had a quote-unquote down year last year, had 25 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. So, he doesn't have DK Metcalf, but he has, you know, he's got Judy, he's got Sutton, he's got Hamler. You got that.
One guy, Tim Patrick. Tim Patrick came on last year.
Yeah, I mean, Russ is the ultimate competitor. He's a winner. He exudes confidence, and he's won. He's a winner. He's won the Super Bowl. So him transitioning to a new team with an offense that's already in place, that's already top tier, and now you have a Hall of Fame quarterback in the mix. So I think Denver, I mean, yeah, it's a helter-skelter division, but if there's a quarterback that can handle a situation like that and get his team over the top and win that division, it's Russell Wilson.
I agree.
It's just you look at all those weapons.
Yeah,
and the weapons are everywhere, and they were literally a team that was a quarterback away, and they didn't just go out and get a guy; they got an elite talent. So that was the guy that was first on my list. The second guy that was on my list was the guy that went to Vegas. Devontae Adams is just the guy who I think playing alongside Darren Waller. You got Hunter Renfrow in the slot. You got solid players in the backfield. Like Derek Carr's only job is to just sling it. And if we've seen Derek Carr do anything, he can just sling it. He can go sideline to sideline. And I think those guys on the field at the same time are going to create so much space for each other. To me, that is the only issue is going to be, Joe, what you just brought up, that division. That division is going to be murder. Those games in that AFC West are just going to be slobber knockers every week, every time they play a divisional game. Right? There's no weak team in that division at all.
No.
It'll be tough. It's going to be the most exciting division to watch. I think the problem with Denver was they were literally Drew Lock and Teddy Bridgewater. If they played okay, they would have won more games. But that's how putrid they were with that offense. You have 2 running backs in Javonte Williams and Melvin Gordon, who both finished in the top 15 last year in fantasy. It's absolutely crazy, the production you were getting from the running back position. Jerry Jeudy, they couldn't even throw him open. Cortland Sutton came on but would just disappear because the quarterback play was so bad. And the same thing with Tim Patrick. And now bring in KJ Hamler, who's probably going to be playing the Tyler Lockett role. I don't think that's going to be Judy's role. And it's just going to be insane watching Russ play with an offensive line, that caliber of running backs and wide receivers. Do I think they're a DK Metcalf? No, because DK Metcalf is just insane.
Right.
But you have 4 options at wide receiver that can get open at any time. Then you add those 2 running backs and an offensive line, and then you add Russell Wilson, who is one of the smartest quarterbacks in the game, who does not throw interceptions. Like you said, Joe, it's astonishing if you look at his stats and see like his interception to touchdown ratio, it's super low. Him and Aaron Rodgers, like it's fucking crazy. They either throw it to where their guy can catch it or where no one's going to catch it. They don't make mistakes like that, and it makes Russ deadly, especially in a division that is going to be that hard. And Jason brought up Marlon Mack going to Houston. I don't like that. Not because Marlon Mack is a bad running back, but he's coming off injury. I think he's coming off the ACL, or it was the Achilles. And that's a death wish to running backs. Like, Achilles injuries are tough.
Yeah.
You see, like, Cam Akers came back, and he was just absolutely awful in the playoffs. So it's either Cam Akers is going to get hurt again, or, just numbers are going to fall off. I just don't see Marlon Mack. Houston's going to be so bad that they're not going to have a running game.
Right.
That's what it comes down to. I'm not drafting anybody on the Houston Texans not named Brandon Cooks, because he's the only guy who performs. And that guy, you guys need to look up Brandon Cook's stats. He is not talked about enough. He has better numbers right now in his career than Calvin Johnson and Randy Moss.
Wow.
I'm telling you, look up his stats. Better numbers than Calvin Johnson and Randy Moss at this year in their career. It's fucking crazy.
Wow.
In football history right now.
Dude, what?
Most underrated.
Oh, yeah. Brandon Cooks gets no love because he's always – and it's so fun. I don't understand why he keeps getting bounced around from teams, because he seems like nobody – you never hear anything bad about the guy.
No.
And the guy just produces. He's just one of those guys. Like, you put him down there with Davis Mills, and he finished – I think is the wide receiver 20 last year, which is fucking with Davis Mills.
Yeah, with Davis Mills.
Who had 0 drafts. Nobody was talking about Davis Mills last year in the draft. No one. And he had the second best rookie year last year behind Mac Jones. That's crazy. That's fucking crazy.
Could you imagine get knocked out of the Super Bowl?
Oh, man. It would have been a different game.
Yeah, I forgot when he got knocked out by Malcolm Jenkins.
Could have covered a broadside of a barn, let alone a guy running a 4.3.
God damn.
I forgot he fucking killed him. Now I'm watching the hit back in my head. I'm like, oh my God.
Nope. No flag, nothing. No unsport, none of that.
No,
he literally ran right through him.
DJ, I don't know. DJ Chark is going to Detroit, but it's Amon St. Brown, Hawkinson, and Swift. And if I'm going with the guy, I'm going in the 12th round, and I'm taking Jameson Williams, because when Jameson Williams comes back, he has more talent than all those wide receivers put together. And that's not a knock on Amon St. Brown. It's just saying Jameson Williams is that.
He's that good. He's that elite.
He's a guy that I'm targeting in my home league. Hopefully I have a shit ton of picks that I'm probably going to end up taking him rounds way beforehand, but he's going to sit on my bench until he is healthy. And then he's going to just blow up, and I'll keep him for next year. I think he's the best wide receiver in this draft. They gave up a shit ton for Chris Olave. Okay, you get him, you keep him, you hope. But you have Michael Thomas and Jarvis Landry and Kamara. I don't think they're going to build. I don't think they're going to build their offense around Chris Olave. That's just not. It's just not going to happen.
No.
What about?
I'm going to go. Go ahead.
What about Marquise Brown?
That's an upgrade for him. I mean, he's got an accurate deep ball passer, and when D-Hop comes back,
not till Game 7, right?
Yeah, not till Game 7. He's suspended for the first 6 weeks. So then you have D-Hop come back, and it's just that's scary. It gives Kyler Murray what he didn't have last year. They gave up a first-round pick, but as we always say, Don, first-round pick over proven commodity. Which one do you want? What are you going to get at 23?
Right.
That's
Marquise
Brown. That's different. And it's not saying, and I'm not shitting on Lamar Jackson because he's come like a far ways for a passer. He's not just a glorified running back anymore. But they don't do him. They didn't do him any service by getting rid of Marquise Brown just because the Ravens weren't going to pay. But the Ravens aren't going to pay. They're not they're like the Patriots of the AFC North. They just don't pay guys unless they're on defense or on the offensive line. Like, when was the last time the Ravens had a great wide receiver?
Ooh, wow.
I can't even. Yeah, Steve Smith.
Steve Smith, yeah.
From Carolina.
Right.
But I can't think of one, like, outside of Steve Smith. He's the only one that comes to my name. And I'm like, I remember him for everything he did in Carolina. Not so much Baltimore. So you kind of look at how just organizations are. Zach Ertz down in Arizona, I love him for the first 6 weeks. After that, I don't know because D-Hop comes back. He is a top 5 guy at that position. You target him late, you get him, you're happy. Rashad Bateman is the real deal, but let's be real. He doesn't have somebody on the other side. So I know you have Mark Andrews. He's going to be taking a lot from the middle of the field, but Bateman was also running intermediate and short routes last year. So it's kind of hard. You don't have that guy who can fly. I mean, you have Duvernay, who's a speedster. He's a track guy, all-world in track. But, hey, just because you run fast doesn't mean you can catch the ball. I think we've seen that out of plenty of wide receivers that the Eagles had and the Raiders over the years drafting all those fucking morons. It's gonna be a funny year when you look at it for fantasy, just because of everything that's changed. You look at all the running backs by committees now. Like, there's 6 maybe bell cows, and some of those bell cows. Like, I was reading an article today by fantasy football guys, and they were talking about James Conner, like how James Conner is literally going to break your draft because he's going to be drafted so high. And you just hope he returns the upside. And he had like 9 receiving touchdowns last year. And then I think he had like 15 rushing touchdowns. Like, his numbers were absolutely insane. Like, is he going to be able to sustain it? And you have to draft him in the 3rd round.
Yeah, and you got to draft him high too.
And I think last year was his first full year without truly being injured, besides his rookie year when he came on. So it's like, do you want to take the risk? High risk, high reward, or what do you do and play it safe? Right. So my question to you guys playing fantasy football is, I have my strategy going into a draft. I am a very big I'm not a wide receiver whore. My buddy Bill, shout out to Bill Lay, he is a wide receiver whore. He will tell you that. And it always kills him every year because he's always doing the late round running back guys, but he just doesn't hit on them. So I am very let me get all the running backs that I can and then go for, I'll draft some later round wide receivers. I always try to get like a top 10 or like a top 4 or 5 tight end. Like, how do you guys go? How do you guys approach it? Are you, if Patrick Mahomes is there in the 3rd round and you like him, like say last year with all of his weapons, were you taking him, or you're like, all right, let me wait and I can get like Stafford, like in the 14th round? Like, how do you guys approach the draft?
I think for me, I like to look at it in terms of like, one, the most underrated thing that a lot of people don't do is look at how your league scores points.
Yeah.
Right. So, for like Rich, for that sleeper league last year, like it now that I'm looking back, like I took a quarterback early and I'm realizing it made absolutely 0 sense, right? Based on the fact that like you need guys that are going to accumulate a ton of points.
Yeah.
And that's going to be your running backs, right? Getting the yards on the ground and getting the receiving yards. So I think I look at those guys that have that versatility, right? That Debo guy that might get you rushing and receiving yards anywhere where you can kind of double up and stockpile those players. And then you look for value. Right, you look at a guy that you may have that is really high in your mind, and you're like, why is he slipping? I'm just going to take him early, and that could be a personal thing, that could be a your guy kind of thing. But for me, I'm looking at where do I get how do I maximize the value for that position? So I go running back, wide receiver, quarterback.
Yeah. No, Don, I'm with you 1,000%. And that's what a lot of people don't realize. You have to look at how the league scored. Look at how everybody else drafts in the league,
Mm-hmm.
and then base it upon that. Joe, what do you do, bud? How do you approach the draft?
I guess basically kind of along the same lines as Don. It's, is it PPR? Is it how is it graded? How does the system work? Is it yards? Is it yards and receptions? It's high volume. I go after a guy, whether it's running back or wide receiver. It's going to be like, this guy is gonna get crazy touches, crazy amount of targets every single game, and there aren't going to be guys there that handcuff him. That's just how I operate. Going with the guys that without a doubt are going to get all those touches every game, no matter what the matchup.
My big thing is what I like to tell people, because people ask me sometimes, like, friends and like people who don't really do fantasy and who aren't in it as much as me. It's like, what's the number one thing to avoid when I'm drafting? Do not take guys who are going into the season with injury designations on draft day. Look what happened last year. Will Fuller, Curtis Samuel. That's just two guys right there. I mean, obviously there was plenty more. Or it sucks when you were drafting and you drafted a J.K. Dobbins, and then the next night you have a draft and it's like, oh, I just got Gus Edwards in the 7th round as a steal, and then Gus Edwards goes down. Shout out to me. That happened to me. So it's like, try to wait. I love drafting. It's my favorite thing to do. I'm not going to lie, I'm up to probably 280 mock drafts. I had to actually delete some. It's just because I'm playing different certain scenarios because I have so many picks. I'm trying to trade picks.
You're obsessed.
Oh,
Rich,
dude, it's one of my favorite things to do.
Rich, I came across, I for whatever reason, it popped up, and I was listening. It was kind of this kind of conversation we were having last year, and some of our, I have to go back and write down some of the fantasy hot takes that we had.
Were they bad?
Some of them were bad. I think you had passed on Stafford and Joe Burrow.
Oh, of course I did.
And then who was another? There were a couple. I'll
Who
have
did
to
I
go back
say?
and write them down.
Who did I say yes on? That's what I need to know. But let's be real. Who knew Jamar Chase was that good? That dude was dropping easy passes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Matthew Stafford, I didn't think he was going to win a Super Bowl, but hey, good for him. I also don't look at advanced metrics.
No, it's always fun to go.
But I'm always
that
wrong. That's my problem. I'm always wrong. Yeah. No, it's fun, dude. Fantasy is just, it's just fun because I like the community. I like the people. I like the camaraderie. And a lot of people, you can just be like chilling at the bar, just hanging out with friends. And it's like, all right. And then you you get to talking and it's just like, oh man, like that's cool. And you talk about players and it's great. But like Jason says, don't draft for need, go best player available.
Yep.
I'm with that. I was in a league. Dude, I was in a league where I was drafting with these guys and they were drafting their backup quarterbacks in like the fucking 6th and 7th round. They were drafting quarterback, their 2 running backs, their 2 wide receivers, their tight end, or not even going tight end and just drafting. One guy had Mahomes and Tom Brady. He's like, anybody want to trade with me? And I'm like, dude, it's the 7th round. So I load up on all this talent. I make the championship. This guy doesn't. And I'm going to the championship with, I think, like Trey Lance. But, of course, I ran into Jamar Chase, who just outscored my whole team. So I was like, Jamar Chase single-handedly beat me in 3 out of my 5 championships. Shout out to Britt Lifts because she beat me in our Golden Mike. Because Jamar Chase is just fucking a monster. But you just look at it and it's just like, if people are like reaching for quarterbacks and you see that quarterback run where these guys are going, but you see, okay, there's still guys like Derek Carr, Kirk Cousins, Trey Lance, and it's like, all right, everybody's got a quarterback. I don't think typically in my home league, we don't draft backup quarterbacks. It's often and far in between. So when I see that going, you're pushing all these running backs, all these wide receivers, these tight ends down to me. And don't draft a fucking defense or kicker before the last 2 rounds. Like they're not that important. People who do that,
True.
it makes me laugh. But I love the people who do it. It's like, yeah, man, I took the Baltimore Ravens defense in the 7th. I'm like, there's 16 rounds in this draft, so thank you for pushing a position player. Or then people panic, and then all of a sudden 2 more defenses go. Like
That's Rich. That's what always happens. That always happens. The school, the league that I'm in with my teacher friends at school, without fail, round 11, 12, after everybody's got like their starting roster.
Yeah.
They're like, "Ooh, I'm going to take a defense and a kicker," and then inevitably, right? Then what happens, right? The next 5 picks they're all defense, they're all kickers because everybody's like, "Oh, well, I don't want to miss out on that," and I'm like, "All right, you're taking a defense in round 12, but you're passing on skill guys, wide receivers, running backs when you could have when you have a flex that you could slot in and out." That are going to get you way more points week to week.
You can have that difference maker. You can have that Elijah Moore from last year, that Amon St. Brown. But no, you took Jacksonville Jaguars defense because the year before they put up 30 points a game. No defense has ever finished back-to-back first or even in the top 5. So whoever the number 1 defense was last year, don't draft them because they're not going to end up in the same spot. That's fantasy football.
And inevitably, Rich, what ends up happening with those defenses?
They
9
get dropped.
times out of 10.
They get dropped.
You get dropped. You drop them before you even. It's too funny.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Too funny.
Jason says taking 3 defense. Shout out to my boy Tasso last year who had 3 defenses on the roster. I'm like, what are you doing, you fucking moron? He's like, dude, these are really good defenses. I don't want to drop them. I'm like, you could start 1, and you're getting like 12 points per defense. That's not that great, but like. But you, and that's
God,
why you didn't make it. I gotta let the dogs in. Don, take us home.
Here we go. Final thoughts. So, Joe, you got any final thoughts? We had some fantasy stuff. We had some all-time Eagle stuff. Any final thoughts for tonight?
Final. Get ready.
Anything in life?
I wish I had some inspirational words, but it's always great when July hits because camp starts next week for those Philadelphia Eagles.
Raiders,
right.
Team, go.
It's painful waiting for the season. It really is painful. You want to see all these new guys get out there and start hitting each other, and you want to see if number 1 got his head out of his ass and he's made strides and made that next step, and he can get this team, some more wins and win a playoff game, man.
Let's do it.
We got to get back to the playoffs.
Playoffs? We're talking about playoffs?
They are who we thought they were.
Oh my God! Listen, maybe next week after we do whatever positions we're going to do next week, take a look at this team now compared to this team 1 year ago, and how drastically different they look.
It's unreal. If you go position by position,
that's what I want to do next week.
Yeah, it is just it'll blow your mind. Because I did that. I did it in some spare 3 minutes I had about a week ago. I don't even know what day it was, but
3 minutes to myself. I did.
I would think I was sitting in the bath.
Hey, listen, that's where great ideas are created.
That's right.
Rich, what do you got? Final thoughts?
Oh man, I finished watching, Stranger Things, which was fantastic. The Boys.
I'm in season 2.
Oh, you're only in season 2. You didn't finish. Oh man.
No.
Yeah, you got a lot to go, Don. It's awesome. It's a great show. Keep watching it. It's awesome. And The Boys. I don't know if you guys watch The Boys at all. It was on Prime. It is one of the most insane shows. It is basically for real of if superheroes were around today, like how they would be. So.
And what's it called, Rich?
It's called The Boys.
The Boys.
Yes, it's basically superheroes in modern day, but it's not like Marvel where they're all nice and it's great. Like no. It's imagine giving the shittiest people in the world, or some of the shittiest people in the world, superpowers. it's and then how politics and corruption and everything comes forth in the whole thing. It's nuts. And I recommend, if you haven't watched The Boys, watch it. It's fantastic. But my final thought is, besides the 2 TV shows, just do things that, have fun. Fantasy football, for all those nerds out there who like it, for all the nerds who like tabletop games and shit. Do it, man. Do it. Have yourself some fun. That's all I'm saying. Let's go out there, do what you love what you do, and just be happy. That's my final.
I like it. And Rich, speaking of that,
Well said.
I'm going right into my final thought is something that is near and dear to my heart, right? I teach science. Science is just something that I love to geek out on. If you have not come across or have not had the chance to see some of the images that are coming out of the James Webb Telescope.
Oh, they're nuts.
It'll blow your mind. The clarity and to know the distance of how far away these things are, like billions of miles and light years away, and to be able to see the types of things that we're seeing with the clarity that we're seeing really kind of does give you a good, it grounds you a little bit and kind of gives you an idea about just how small this space is and how important it is to be able to kind of maximize your time and your space and your energy on Earth. So go check out some of that stuff on the James Webb Telescope, man. It is some mind-blowing stuff.
Don, did you see the meme, Don, where it was like James Webb Telescope, and then it was like the security camera with like the guy's blurry face? I was dying when I saw it. I'm like, it's so true.
It's so simple, though. Like, it's so simple. Like, how can we see something that is billions of light years away with such clarity, but we got a security camera that's 12 feet from the guy,
and you can't get space.
And he's the most pixel. He might as well be like the guy in Super Mario Brothers, all pixelated.
Yeah, so good.
Crazy, man.
Thank you for bringing that up, Don.
Oh God, yeah, no, just super cool stuff. Listen, if you haven't gone and checked out our sponsors, go check out the sponsors in our link tree that's in the bio of our social media. La Terrain, Team Click, Shocked Energy, Streaker Sports. Go check those guys out. And with that, Philly, we'll be back next week. We'll be picking more all-time Eagles teams, talking some more fantasy stuff. So if you got anything, you got any questions for us, send them in. We'll talk some birds. Go Birds.
Go Birds.
You stuck around? Bitch. You stuck around. You fucked around. You found out.
There we go. We end it right.
We had to end it right.